As the sun set over the sprawling cityscape, a quiet terror crept through Mexico City, settling into the hearts of its people. Elderly women, once safe in their homes and neighborhoods, were being found dead, victims of shocking brutality that shattered the sense of security in the city's most vulnerable communities. Headlines screamed from every newsstand. The press called the killer El Mataviejitas, the little old lady killer. The name alone sent chills through the city. Authorities scrambled for answers. They quickly assumed the suspect was a man, convinced that only someone strong and ruthless could commit such terrible acts. Police sketches of a male suspect were plastered across the city, but the killer left almost no clues, moving through the night like a ghost. Families grew anxious, warning their older relatives not to open their doors to anyone, not even to those who seemed trustworthy. Trust in the community began to unravel. Neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, and the once lively streets grew quiet. The murders continued, each new victim deepening the city's panic and confusion. Between the late 1990s and mid-2000s, the death toll climbed, some say as high as 49. Vigils were held, but answers remained elusive. The police and public were certain they were hunting a man, and the investigation focused on this single, mistaken idea. But the truth was far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The monster they were searching for was not who anyone expected. The city's search was headed in the wrong direction, and the real killer remained hidden in plain sight. Now, the real story was about to be told. A story that would shock Mexico City to its core. The case broke open on January 25, 2006. Not because of detective work, but by pure chance. For months, fear had gripped Mexico City as elderly women were found murdered in their own homes, and the police seemed no closer to catching the killer. That day, after killing Ana Maria de los Reyes Alfaro, the killer was spotted fleeing the scene by a neighbor. The witness, acting on instinct, alerted nearby police officers and joined them in a desperate chase through the crowded streets. The pursuit was tense and chaotic, weaving through alleys and bustling markets until finally, the suspect was cornered and apprehended. El Mataviejitas was finally caught. But the biggest shock was yet to come. The suspect wasn't a man as everyone had assumed, but a woman. Juana Barraza, a 48-year-old mother and professional wrestler. This revelation sent shockwaves through Mexico. The idea that a woman could be behind such brutal crimes shattered the public's beliefs about violence and gender. Barraza's powerful physique, honed in the wrestling ring, had fooled witnesses and police alike, allowing her to slip through the cracks for years. By day, she sold popcorn on the streets. By night, she transformed into La Dama del Silencio, the Lady of Silence. In the wrestling ring, living a double life that masked her darkest secrets. Her double life was so convincing that even those closest to her never suspected the truth. The country was forced to confront its own stereotypes and fears as the news exploded across every channel and newspaper. Juana Barraza's face became infamous overnight, her story dominating headlines and conversations everywhere. The story was no longer just about crime, it was about the darkness anyone could hide, and the masks people wear. The Lady of Silence was finally unmasked, her secret life exposed for all to see. For many, her story remains a chilling reminder that monsters can hide in plain sight, and nightmares can come to life. To truly understand Juana Barraza, you have to look deep into the pain and hardship that shaped her life from the very beginning. Juana grew up in extreme poverty, surrounded by neglect and violence. Her mother, an alcoholic, was both abusive and absent, leaving Juana to fend for herself. The ultimate betrayal came when her mother traded her to a man for just a few beers, condemning her to years of abuse and trauma. These early wounds left deep psychological scars. Juana carried a heavy burden of anger, mistrust, and pain that would haunt her for decades. As an adult, she struggled to survive on the margins of society, working menial jobs to support her children. Life was a constant battle, and she often felt invisible and powerless. Wrestling as La Dama del Silencio gave her a rare sense of control and respect. In the ring, she could reinvent herself, channeling her rage into strength. But the pain and anger inside her only grew. The murder of her own son shattered what little hope she had left, deepening her bitterness and isolation. Experts believe Juana's rage became focused on elderly women, a twisted attempt to get revenge on the mother who had betrayed her so long ago. Each victim, in her mind, became a symbol of the betrayal and pain she had endured. Her violence was the tragic result of a lifetime spent in suffering and darkness. Juana Barraza's story is a haunting reminder of how deep wounds can twist a life beyond recognition. Barraza's way of doing things was chillingly planned, every step calculated to avoid suspicion and maximize her control. She carefully selected elderly women living alone, often watching their routines for days. Disguised as a nurse or social worker, she would approach with a warm smile and gentle words, exploiting their trust in authority figures. Her disguise was her weapon, using their need for help and their faith in caregivers to lower their guard. She would offer assistance, sometimes even bringing small gifts to seem more genuine. Once inside, she waited for the perfect moment, when her victim was most vulnerable, then struck with sudden, overwhelming force. Strangulation was her signature, often using whatever was at hand, scarves, cords, or even curtain ties. She left little evidence, making it hard for police to connect the crimes. She would take small valuables, rings, necklaces, or cash, but the theft was secondary. The real motive was the act itself, a twisted sense of power and control. Investigators were misled by their own biases, convinced the killer was a man. They ignored eyewitness reports of a woman near the scenes, dismissing crucial leads. This critical mistake allowed Barraza to continue her deadly spree for years. As the bodies and unanswered questions piled up, she blended into the city, hiding in plain sight, protected by society's blind spots and the police's narrow focus. The investigation's failures proved deadly, costing more lives as the Lady of Silence grew bolder with each crime. The Lady of Silence thrived on deception, growing stronger as she outwitted both her victims and those meant to protect them. Barraza's capture finally ended a long, terrifying chapter for Mexico City. For years, fear had gripped the city's elderly, and her arrest brought a sense of relief and closure. Her trial became a national spectacle. Barraza admitted to one murder but denied the rest, even as overwhelming evidence tied her to at least 16 killings. The courtroom was packed with reporters, families, and curious onlookers. Prosecutors argued that her violent childhood and deep-seated anger fueled her crimes. The defense tried to humanize her, but the facts were impossible to ignore. The mask of a kind nurse was gone, replaced by the image of a cold, calculating killer. On March 31, 2008, Barraza was found guilty and sentenced to 759 years in prison, a sentence meant to send a message. For the families of her victims, it was justice, but the scars remained. The case forced Mexico to confront stereotypes about women and violence, and challenged assumptions about who can be a killer. Barraza's crimes left a lasting mark on society, changing how police and the public view crime and justice. The Lady of Silence was finally silenced. But her story remains a chilling warning. Evil can hide behind any face. In the end, justice prevailed, but the echoes of her crimes still haunt the city. Her legacy is a reminder. Sometimes the most dangerous monsters are the ones we least expect. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Your support helps us bring more content like this to you. See you in the next video.